Okay guys, more stuff on Logic Pro X 10.5. This isn't a tutorial, it's just more of me looking around and going, oh hey look, you can do this, oh by the way it can do that, right? Okay, here's some interesting stuff. Here I've got a drum box. This is one of the new drum machine designer kits on an instrument track, the Deep Bass House kit. And I've got one of the step sequencer patterns on here, right? And I manually created 3 lanes myself for 3 of the drums in that Deep Bass House kit. A kick, a snare, and an open hat on C1, D1 and A sharp 1. And it's a very simple boom-tish pattern like this. Right, okay. But check this out. I grab the pattern, drag the pattern onto the grey area below the last track here, right, and create a quick sampler original, and it's made it into a sample loop. And it opens the step sequence, it slices it initially and opens the step sequencer on that newly created quick sampler track with a lane for each of the slices, but there's no actual pattern there committed to the track yet. So what you can do is you just take it out of slice mode and instead put it into classic mode. Its root key is C3 when it's not in slice mode. In slice mode it begins with the first slice at C1. Put it in classic or one shot, leave it on C3 or give it whatever note you want, and hey presto, you've got an instant sample loop made of your drum pattern, ready loaded into Quick Sampler to be triggered and to be mangled and do anything you want with. That's pretty cool, isn't it? But it also works with Drum Machine Designer, a drummer patterns. Here's an electronic drummer pattern playing a Drum Machine Designer kit. Same thing, drag the pattern, this is a drummer pattern this time, drag it into this track area and optimize sampler original, and again it's made a sample loop ready to go, loaded with slicing, but put it into classic mode and straight away you've got a sample loop preloaded into the sampler of your pattern, ready to be triggered how you want with some trigger effects or mangled or whatever you want. So it works with step patterns, it works with drummer patterns, it works with MIDI patterns too, even with arpeggiators. Okay, so remember that tutorial I did a while back about the secret of Piano House? Well, look, there is a piano chord. Right, piano chord, playing the Yamaha grand piano. 1 chord. And for some reason the cycle range isn't working at all. What the bloody hell's going on with that? Why isn't the cycle range working? No, I don't want to put a marker in. That is weird. Have you ever seen anything like that? It went boo and then just said, no, you know what, stuff the cycle range. Huh? That is weird. What's that about? That is so strange. Have you ever seen that before, where the cycle range doesn't work? That is bizarre. Oh my god, I haven't got some terrible bug with the cycle range. Oh, am I missing something? Anyway, look, the point is, there's a piano chord. Same thing, it's a MIDI piano chord. I drag it down. Quick sampler original. And straight away, there's my piano chord on this track ready to be played. Yeah, to do the old classic triggering chord technique. And if you put flex on, wherever you play it, it will not speed up or slow down. That doesn't need to be on for chords. I can even play 2 notes of the chord to make weird chords, etc. So it'll do that. which is kind of cool. Another one, here's an analog, where are we? That's an analog polysynth. What's this up here? That's a quick sampler. Right, let's put a sound on here. Let's go with classic trance. Okay, no, that's the sampler. I don't want the sampler. Lost in Trance, ES2. Okay, and I'll pencil in a region here, and I'll put in an arpeggiator. Right, and then there's my MIDI pattern. I'll put in a single note on, whoa, say C3 like that. That's incredibly loud. Right, there it is. My God, that loop is still not working, is it? What is it about that? Is it something? What have I auto set locators? No. That is, I don't like that. The fact that cycle range no longer works. That is just stupid. What's going on? Oh, why? Why is it not doing that? Anyway. Lost in Trance. Right, so I've put an arpeggiator on it. Let's put some range on the arpeggiator. Right, so even though this is a single note triggering a synth with arpeggiation, I drag and drop it and the same thing. Make a quick sampler original out of it. And sure enough, there's the quick sampler on the new track. And it's made a sample loop of the arpeggiated Lost in Trance synth, which I can then mangle and trigger and do what I want with. So yeah, it does that as well. So it'll sample any type of pattern, including those that use arpeggiator, and I'm assuming any other MIDI effects, like the chord thing. What is it called? You know, the chord trigger. And chords, any drum pads, it'll automatically make a drum loop out of them. A loop out of them, a drum loop, a chord, an arpeggiated loop, or any rhythmic loop, loaded into the quick sampler, ready to go to be to do all that sample triggering stuff that you want with, or to do house and other piano type, chord, organ type, house type stuff, whatever you like, as well as automatically creating drum loops from your drum patterns, whether they're straight MIDI patterns, step sequencer patterns, or drummer patterns, which is kind of cool. But there's more. Oh yes, there's more. Okay, let's stick with this Lost in Trance synth here. Right, there it is. Let's take the arpeggiator off. So there's the Lost in Trance synth, and it's got some effects that I uploaded it. This channel strip preset, Lost in Trance. It's loaded the S2 with the trance preset and some effects and some sends, whatever. Let's turn that down a bit. That's send. And but at the end of that stack of effects, I'm going to put utility auto sampler. Now check this out. Now, this is its default settings. I'm not going to get into all the different variations for that. But let me just change the range. So it's going to sample from C2 to C4. Like that. Right? It's the technique that this uses is to sample for a long time. 10 seconds per sample. And by default, it's whatever my range is that I set from low to high note. It's going to sample every 6 semitones, but you can make that so it will sample every single key or every 2 semitones, you know, whatever you like. But the default is every 6 semitones, so there are 2 samples per octave. But I say its technique is that it samples for a long time, 10 seconds. But let's not get into the deep stuff because you can have different velocity layers and all the rest of it. Right? But this is the essence of what it'll do. Input gain, turn the input gain down a bit because it was a bit loud, that. So, from C2 to C4 at 6 semitone intervals, sample. And it's on the Lost in Trance track. Here we go. We'll call it Trance Synth EXS. I'll just overwrite that one. All done. Bam, close it, make a new track. Software instrument, put the normal sampler on it, in stereo let's say, and go to the menu here, auto sampled, and there it is, trance synth. There's the samples mapped. It actually screws up the mapping because it's supposed to sample every 6 semitones, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's supposed to, this next zone here is supposed to be from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 from that key there. But perhaps that's the way it lays it out afterwards, or maybe it's, I don't know. Anyway, but it's created a multi-sample set of those notes, right? With the range I put. So now, wait. So of that. So now. I've got a multi-sampled instrument taken from another instrument. That's kind of cool. Because think about it, it means that you could get demos of software synths that give you a limited time use, and find the best presets and auto sample them and save them, and then go, right, that's it. The demo's over. I don't care, and uninstall it and just capture the best patches. All right, they're not going to have the flexibility of a real synth, but if there's certain presets that you really like, you can grab them and stuff like that, you know. Anyway, it's kind of cool, isn't it? It just will automatically create a sample set from any instrument, which is kind of cool. Very cool. I'm imagining it will do it from drums. I haven't tried it, but it surely will do it from drums. But then why would you want to bother? Because you've got the drum kits here already with the sounds on their individual things, so there's no need to do that. But yeah, that's quite interesting, isn't it? So that's another thing that you can do. And let's get rid of that. Another thing you can do is you've got Apple loops, and you can make your own. Right, any of your own audio loops that are not already Apple loops, because a lot of the sample loop collections you can buy them in Apple loop format already. You can make your own. You just bring the audio loop into Logic, do the technique where you set the cycle range to the length of the loop. If it's a 1-bar loop, a 1-bar cycle range. If it's a 2-bar loop, you make a 2-bar cycle range. Open the loop in the file edit, and then do the command in functions to set the tempo by the piece of audio and the locators, and that puts and do it globally. That puts the project tempo so that the cycle range exactly fits the loop. Then when you drag that loop into Apple Loops here, you get the option to create a loop from it, and then it's made into an Apple Loop. I did it here with the Amen break earlier. But any Apple Loop, all drums, beats, genre. No, I've got to go back to and just change that for some reason. Vintage breaks. So like here's let's look for a short break. Yeah, say that. 4 bars long. These are playing at the project tempo, by the way. So I just drag this loop onto the track header area again, and I can make a sliced quick sampler thing from it, or load it into Drum Machine Designer, and it will auto slice, because it's been made into an Apple Loop previously. It will auto slice the pattern, the same thing that it does in Quick Sampler, but you bypass the step of loading it into Quick Sampler, slicing it, and then exporting it to Drum Machine Designer. You can load it directly into Drum Machine Designer. It will slice it, the loop, up into the different paths. The only thing is you don't get the option to choose the slicing sensitivity. But here we go, look. So that break has been sliced, and every slice has been given a pad. So that, and yeah, every single slice has been given a pad, and there's a MIDI pattern there which triggers it. It's really doing me in why this cycle range isn't working. It must be something I've done. I don't know what. That's pretty cool. So any loops, bring them in, auto slicing, load into Drum Machine Designer with the slices pre-done, and ready to trigger in any of those sounds from that loop that you want, in whatever order you want. You know, you can just pick out the snares and kicks or whatever it is that you want, you know, and get rid of the rest. That's something else you can do. That's pretty cool. Yeah. So you know, there's just some other things. With this new logic, I wonder if I bring in, let me just try this, I haven't tried this. Let's go to not drums, but say electric piano, in the category, in the genre of deep house. Oh god, 1. Okay, but I can bring this in, and I can load it into the Quick Sampler and put it into classic mode straight away. I can do with the root key. It knows the root key of this is A, so it's put its root on A2 in classical one shot. And straight away, I can use that in the sampler technique to trigger and re-trigger, to do house triggering of that chord, rather than using it as an Apple loop that I've got to chop and move around to trigger where I want. That's kind of cool as well. So there's a lot of this drag and drop is the point. I mean, just to show you finally, if I get let's just put a regular sampler on here. Where are we? Sampler, multi in stereo. Yeah, I mean the new sampler, I'm not going to get into this in any massive depth here, but just, you know, they've made everything drag and drop as much as possible. So, you know, for example here, let me reinitialize this. Okay, so if I get, there's a piano note here, just a single piano note. If I drag that in, boom, put on C2, and it's so easy to just, there you go. Oops, solo it. You know, it's so easy to straight away just bring a sample in, drag and drop it, and map it, and bing bang bong, get playing with it. You know, before, and then you can get further into mangling it and messing around with it, whatever you like. You go to the zone, and there's the actual sample. Yeah, so. Etc. Yeah? So this whole drag and drop thing is everywhere. It's everywhere. You drag and drop into the sampler, both the quick sampler and the main sampler. You can drag and drop patterns onto the track header here, and whatever they're drum patterns, whatever type, or MIDI patterns, chords, arpeggiated patterns. It will automatically make loops from them and all this kind of stuff. And there's the auto sampler as well. I'll get more into that and show you more stuff with that. But yeah, there's some more things, you know. I'll see you for some main tutorials soon. See ya.